First of all, thanks for being out here, guys. I really appreciate it, and great job on the weather. Randy Press did a great job on the weather today. Perfect. I thought we got a lot accomplished for the first day, which I would expect us to be able to do that. We've been around the guys for a year and been able to do walkthroughs and meetings and all that type of thing throughout till today. So I was pleased with the amount of things that we were able to accomplish and do. So I'll take any questions at this time.
What did you think about the quarterbacks? You got 4 of them. Can you break it down a little bit?
Yeah, they all they all threw well. We didn't do a lot of against ones and all that type of stuff as much today with just the spiders on. But as far as them executing all the things that we were doing and the things we put in the first install, I thought they did well. I thought they all threw the ball well. I was pleased with that, and that looked like they had a good understanding of what's going on.
Especially with Jenkins, how's he in his all new system? How's he grasping it?
Yeah, key one grasped it good today. I thought that he did well. Of course, we'll go back in and watch film. There's a lot of different things, but overall, he looked like he wasn't lost. He looked like he was comfortable doing it.
Coach, obviously, you have some coaching changes come in. Zach Roper comes in, tight ends. Of course, Josh Ergo slide over tight ends, offensive line. Just talk about that a little bit and what went into those decisions.
Yes. Well, Josh Ergo played offensive line in college, has coached offensive line, been a head coach, been a coordinator, really understands it. I thought it was a very smooth transition because the tight ends work closely with the O-line, of course, and then he understands the passing game. I thought that was a good slide there to fit that. And he's also our deputy assistant head coach, and he's been a head coach before and done well with that. And then Zach Roper, I've known Zach forever. Matter of fact, when I was the secondary coach at Ole Miss, he was my student assistant coach at Ole Miss. And then we coached together at Duke, and he had been at Duke for 14 years. Had been the special teams coordinator for multiple years, and he was the offensive coordinator, coached multiple positions on offense, has done a great job there. So bringing his expertise in, not only understanding offense and tight ends and the whole scheme, but the special team aspect of it. He did an excellent job with that at Duke. So I'm excited about having him here. And then we got Anthony Gator, who we promoted to outside linebackers coach. Anthony did a great job for us last year, quality control on defense, learning everything. I'm really excited about Anthony. And of course, he's a former FIU Panther and also a former Northwestern Bull. And he knows everybody in the city, so he'll help us in a lot of other areas in recruiting also.
Coach Roper, so David Cutcliffe coaching tree, right?
Yes, he sure is.
Coach, we have to ask you this. But last year when you came in, it felt like a lot of level setting the expectation, letting guys know what you expect from them. This year it felt a little bit more like, all right, guys know what to do. They know the expectation. Go out there and do it. Is that kind of how you feel about the team this year?
Right. You always have to start back at square one, though. You always have to start back at your foundation and build it from like you're starting day one. It's just day one gets accelerated. Look, we can get to day 2 quicker, day 3 quicker, day 4 quicker on our installs, on our understanding of what we're doing in practice, how we practice, what we do. So a lot of that ran a lot smoother today, which I hope it would. If it wouldn't have, then we screwed it up along the way. But that ran a lot smoother.
Yeah, you mentioned actually talking to Eric, talking about Mitchell. Can you talk about him? It seems like he's bigger, stronger, and his progression.
Yeah, Kris has gained about 12 to 15 pounds, depending on what day you weigh him in. He shows more power, more strength. When you do all that testing on the catapults and stuff they wear in games, at top end speed, he is flying. And then when he would get a little fatigued, he dropped just a little bit. I'm pretty sure now he'll be able to stay flying competitively the whole game with his more power, more strength, and be able to be a stronger target and that type of thing. Because he did really well last year. I look for him to take a big leap this year.
Coach, 2 questions. One, looks like a guy who was in red today, Adrian Cole. How many prognosis on him?
Yeah, Adrian had labrum surgery, recovering really well, and he'll be full speed to go when we start fall camp and start summer workouts. But right now he'll be out this spring.
And then 2 guys I know we're going to chance to talk in a second. Jack Daly and JT Anderson. How are those guys?
Yeah, they're doing good. Jack and JT are doing really well. I think Jack was really excited it wasn't as hot today, but he'll get real used to that. And of course, JT's from Tampa area. Been pleased with their work ethic, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how they compete as the spring goes along.
One follow-up on Jack. How crucial is it to have a guy who's played that zero technique, 2-3-4, nose guard? Oh, yeah. How crucial is it to have a guy in your system?
Yeah, it's really really crucial. You know, he's big, he's powerful, he's strong. So we're really excited about having his size in there. And so he's a big key to doing that. You notice most teams that have a 3-4 have a pretty big nose. He's definitely big enough and very, very tough. So I'm excited about him.
Running back Shamari Lawrence is kind of holding on to his knee. Is there any injury update on that?
No, he was fine. I think he was just tired. I think he's doing good. All right.
Oh, I want to ask you about Elijah Angelin Taylor. Talking about him, looks like a guy that's going to be a big leader to your defense.
Yeah, Elijah did well out there today. He's, we weren't in pads, but he's known as a physical player. When you watch his college film from Northern Colorado, I remember him in high school, and he was a youngster recruiting him when I was at Colorado. He's very powerful, very strong, understands the game, and looked good moving around out there today.
To start, talk about your transition to FIU, how you ended up here. Of course, Coach Mack talked about the long-term relationship, so just take us through the process.
Well, as you said, and as Coach said, I've known him for a long time. It goes all the way back to 1999 and University of Mississippi, where I graduated from. Like you said, I was a student assistant for him there. And then the relationship continued at Duke University. Coach Cutcliffe put his staff together in 2008. Coach MacIntyre was the original defensive coordinator there. That's when I got first Power 5 job, coaching running backs, and then did a lot of different things while we were there. And then Coach MacIntyre obviously became a head coach, and the connection stayed, the relationship stayed, and an opportunity presented itself to come to FIU, and I jumped on it.
Coach, just talk about your impression of, first off, your entire room, but some of the vets, guys like Josiah Meehan, and now some of the guys coming like Christian Peterson and others.
Absolutely. So excited about the room. So we've got 6 total guys in the room. As you mentioned, Josiah is the veteran. He's the one that's played a lot of football. For FIU, Jackson McDonald would be next as far as the reps that he's had. But excited about Kamarion, excited about Pedersen and where he is, and we just got to continue to build depth. And that's what you want to do in every room, is build as much depth as you can, because you never know who's going to be needed at any time. And but excited about where we are.
What's the difference between Coach Cutcliffe's system or similarities and what Coach Mack is running here?
A lot of similarities. I think most head coaches would tell you that their expertise is kind of their tree, and obviously Coach MacIntyre worked under Coach Cutcliffe, so you see a lot of the similarities that I was a part of with Coach Cutcliffe. But then you also see things that Coach MacIntyre has built, being a longtime head coach, right? So some things that are still that I have to learn that he expects and he wants, and that's what you got to do, right? When the head coach, right, sets a foundation, right, as an assistant coach, you got to build upon that foundation. So there are there's some nuance within the language that we use and some of the coaching points and some of the vernacular that we use within the coaching that I'm still trying to learn. But and I guess you could say that you see some of Coach Parcells and what Coach wants to do. But every head coach is going to have their foundation and then build upon it as they learn and grow from a head coach, and that's what Coach MacIntyre's done.
What about from a recruiting standpoint? How what are going to be your responsibilities, and maybe some areas where you've recruited that you feel really good about? Or
so in my past, I've spot recruited the state of Florida. Obviously, anywhere you go within the state, right, there are great players wherever you go. But I think Coach MacIntyre would tell you, and anybody would tell you, you always got to work inside out, right? And I'm going to have a part of Miami-Dade County. I'm going to have a handful of schools in Miami-Dade. And then I will work. I will not have anything in Broward, but I'll work north, really kind of the Space Coast is what I'll have. But like I said, anywhere you go in this state, there's football players. There's a lot of talent in this state, but we want to start inside out and start in Miami-Dade and Broward.
Do you have any expectations for the tight end group?
Have a lot of expectations. I expect them to do all the things that you have to have a tight end to do, right? And really what they do, right? You almost got to coach them and train them a little bit like a quarterback. Right, and what I mean by that is that they have to do everything, right? They have to be able to run block. They have to be able to pass block, right? They got to run routes and catch balls, right? So they're doing everything within an offense. So they've got to know it all, right? So they're not just blocking like an offensive lineman, and they're not just running routes like a receiver. They got to do it all. So we have high expectations for the group. We want to try to play as many people that have shown us that they're capable of playing. If that's one guy, it'll be one guy. I don't want it to be one guy. I want it to be as many people in the room, right? But they got to show us, and really everything that they do on the practice field, in the meeting room, how they take care of their personal life. So I got expectations for the whole room, but it does start with Josiah Memon, right? And Jackson McDonald's where it starts, and then those other guys, Kamarion and Pedersen, they got to come on and let us build as much depth as we can.
Coach Roper, Dade County's a lot different than Carolina. So how you adjusting the food?
You know what? I drove by a Cuban restaurant the other day, and I said I got to try this spot. So I got people wanting to take me to different places. I haven't ventured out a whole lot yet, to be quite honest with you, but I'm ready. I'm ready.
Grayson, we just want to start off. First practice. I was out there for you. Take us through.
It was good. Obviously, get back with the guys. Obviously, a lot of work been put in this offseason, so just kind of be able to let it happen on the field and just be able to put those extra reps into fruition and kind of let things get rolling. It felt good to be back out there.
What about what do you see out of Keon? And are you taking like a mentorship role with him? At the same time, he's also gunning to try to be the starter. So
Yes, sir.
How's that going with him?
I mean, yeah, I've definitely been in his shoes before, so obviously just kind of want to teach him whatever I can. He's definitely a talented kid, so being able to have him in the room is good for us, and obviously just having that extra competition. Competition is why you love the game, so just being able to have that push you and obviously push him as well is something I look forward to doing.
Grayson, year 3, just talk about your command of the offense. That's year 2 in Coach Hill's system. From year 1 to year 2, your command of the offense.
I mean, yeah, there's definitely a lot to be said being in the offense, just that year-to-year rollover. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. I feel a lot more confident just having that year under my belt, obviously playing more games this year as well. So my confidence level's up. I feel like I have command and just being a dealer out there.
Like Walt mentioned, you are in a QB competition, but outside of Coach MacIntyre, obviously it's his team, but outside of that, does this feel like your team?
I feel like at this point, I feel like it definitely is. I feel like the guys rally around me. I feel like it's been, I put in enough time, put in enough work. I feel like I've proved myself to gain the respect. So it's just being able to put it out there consistently, just big on attention to details this offseason, and just being able to be consistent this year.
What are you seeing out of the timing, out of your receivers, your tight end? You don't have Tyree, you don't have Rivaldo. Who are you having some good rapport with in terms of targets?
Obviously, yeah, we have some new faces coming in, but we have a lot of returners. Obviously, guys like Kris, Dean, Artez, new guys like Eric, and a few other guys. I feel like they may have not been seen yet, but we have talent all across the room, in the wide receiver room, tight ends, running backs. So I feel like it'll be a good spring to be able to put that on display.
Grayson, I just want to ask you this. I'm sure you've obviously just talked about a little bit. Pushing the ball downfield. Last year, I think your number came in at the 124th in the nation. Yards per attempt. A, what would you attribute that to? And B, is that a point of emphasis to want to push the ball downfield?
Obviously, I would say that just came down to a lot of just week-to-week play calling. Obviously, where we were personnel-wise, just we didn't feel comfortable with pushing the ball down the field. But definitely, it's a point of emphasis for sure. I feel like my skill set is suited for that. I feel like I can push the ball down the field and be accurate. Throwing the ball down the field as well. So that's something I'm looking forward to. I know that everybody else too, because obviously that's the wow plays that keep the people in the stands. So I'm looking forward to that for sure.
Last one for me, just talk about Kris, his development a little bit.
It's definitely, whenever I came my freshman year, just seeing where Kris has come from then and the 2 years I've known him, it's been amazing to see. Just technical-wise, he's always had the speed, but just to see him become a technician with his routes, with his route running, and obviously understanding the game more and more has been fun to watch.
Here's I'll ask you. Talk about building those relationships with a lot of the returners. Dean, Kris, and Jalen, all the guys that are going to get a lot of snaps here this year.
Yeah, it's definitely nice. I feel like I throw with them quite a bit. They're also my friends. We hang out a lot outside of football as well. So obviously, forgot to mention Bracy and Ross as well. Those guys, they're all playmakers. They're all good guys to hang around. So it should be a fun year.
All right, Kris, go take away. Just first off, first practice back. How was things out there?
Good practice. A lot of improvement for my guys next to me. It's good to see everyone's working as hard as me, and I'm looking forward to see what we got Thursday.
Kris, you probably heard us talk about a little bit. You're the veteran in the room now.
Yes,
in
sir.
terms of playing experience and whatnot. Just talk about that. Your development is now going from a freshman to not leading the room and wide receiver one. Just talk about that.
Yes, sir. Coming in 4 years ago, watching guys like Bryce, Shamar, Maloney, I took in a lot of tips from them and developed my game, gotten bigger, gotten stronger, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how I play this year, and I'm really expecting a lot of big things out of myself.
You talk about getting bigger. That's one thing I noted. What's your height and weight right now?
6 foot 180. Yes, sir.
What have you been eating?
Peanut butter, sandwiches, milkshakes, everything, pizzas, everything. Anything I could put down my mouth, I eat it. So
What's in the shakes?
peanut butter, protein, milk, stuff like that.
Do you know how many calories you doing a day?
I'm not sure, to be honest.
How
I'm on a calorie program and a weight program with my nutritionist Leslie, and so she's been just keeping track of all that. So
And you're eating like every 3 hours or something?
I'm eating like 4 meals a day, so it's been helping me a lot, and I've been getting bigger.
Is it fun to do that? Because, you know, people losing weight is hard. Is it easy to gain
Honestly,
weight?
a couple years ago, I hated it. Like, I hated eating, but now that I know where the stakes are, I've been having a lot of fun with it. So.
Now that you know what?
Not like how high the stakes are right now, so I have to get bigger.
Oh, the steaks, and then not steaks, S-T-E-A-K-S.
Yeah.
S-T-A-K-E-S. Which steaks are you talking about?
S-T-A-K-E-S.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought he found out where they serve steak.
Hey, let me piggyback off something you and I was talking with Scott Carr earlier. You talk about having a nutritionist on staff, talking about trying to upgrade some of the things. Have those things been noticeable? You know, having more amenities at your hand compared to yours prior?
They actually have. When I first got here, we actually had a nutritionist, and then we lost her. So having her come back is pretty good for the team.
Amanda Fernandez was the nutritionist.
Yes, Amanda.
Okay. But going back to, again, you know, kind of your development, you know, we've talked about this last year, you know, it was a struggle for you to stay healthy. You know, you had the concussion last fall or last spring and things like that. Just talk about the fact that finally you're healthy and you get a chance to really go
It feels good to be healthy. Injuries last year, guy fell on my ankle, pretty unpreventable. So concussion in the fall, pretty unpreventable. So coming back in the spring and having a whole spring, getting better, it's gonna be pretty good to do. So.
Hey, Kris, Keon Mitchell's coming here with a big reputation. What do you see the young freshman so far?
Keon Jenkins?
Yeah, the quarterback.
Okay, he said Mitchell.
I'm sorry.
I like him a lot. His energy is high. He can sling it. He's a lefty. I've been actually getting some routes with him, like a couple routes in him, a couple weekends. So he's pretty good, and I have a lot of expectations for him.
Chris, there's this DB, I don't know if you heard of him, John Mitchell. You know,
John
seems to be
Mitchell,
rising.
my
you know,
little brother, yeah.
If we're going one-on-one, you know.
He's great, but he's better than me, honestly. He's better than me. He's an athlete. He can play any position. He's a 4-star right now, and I just want to keep seeing him getting better, faster, stronger, smarter. So.
Kris, how important is it for you not being the veteran to maybe mentor these younger guys, the freshmen that are going to be coming in, some of the younger guys?
I know that once I leave, I still need the guys getting better. So if I leave a statement now, they're going to keep rising to the top and playing at the best ability. So that's exactly what I want from them.
Anything else, guys?
Thanks, Kris.